to identify who did it.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more, Rob?
Yeah.
And usually, Dad, I got my Uncle Dan coming in at 11:30 with his big old truck. Dad'll talk a little bit more about
Wound up. Oh, wait. Almost behind the road.
It sharpens iron.
Yep.
Yeah.
3. Look what I did. 3, 2, 1. Guys, welcome back to Hey, welcome back, guys. Welcome to the MacCast. I'm Jason McClellan, joined as always by my brother Ryan and my dad Dan.
Fired up.
He's fired up and ready to go. We're excited to be back in the studio. It's been a little while. Happy New Year's to all of you guys out there. We're pretty excited. Had a little bit of podcast meeting. We'd like to see some different directions. So be standing by. We'll see how that looks for us in the future. But moving forward, it's just really nice to be back in the studio together. Yeah. There's crazy holiday seasons, kind of a lot of fast moving stuff. So it's good when anytime we could take a pause to sit with each other and enjoy fellowship. And, this podcast is definitely faith centered, as we try to be as well. So we're excited to be together and look forward to talking about Jesus and football. Just our two favorite topics. But on the football, a lot of exciting college football playoffs. Lots. Yep. And I think Dad and I were talking about this. Ryan agreed. The quality of football product that has been on television for the viewers to watch has been awesome. So the college football bowl games this year were enjoyable to watch. There wasn't large blowouts or differential.
The matchups. The
matchups were great. So yeah, let's dive right in.
Fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what's more surprising, this in the playoff postseason, is it the dominance that Indiana's showing right now, or is it the SEC falling, or is it Miami, Florida, who was on the bubble of getting in?
The SEC fell a couple of years ago.
Yeah, it seemed that way. I mean,
could very well have a Big Ten national championship 3 years in a row, back to back to back. Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana.
It's a great point. And I don't think anyone would be surprised about that either. I think the way the Ohio State's, I don't want to say replica, but their pattern that they had last year to win it, the team up north, Michigan's pattern, they had a lot of heavy seniors, a lot of players buying into the system. Ohio State did that last year. They met after they lost to Michigan, came together, they fought hard. You see Indiana's doing the exact same thing with Cincinnati right now. He brought those kids in and they're buying into his system. And we talked about that off air a little bit as well. Maybe it's getting players to buy into your system more than just a high number, paying who could pay the most money to fill their team.
Yeah, it's almost a refreshing take, isn't it? Because I think right now college football is dominated by NIL talk, money talk, kids, committing and then moving and different things like that. But when you can see what the things that Coach Cignetti has done at Indiana, it kind of just restores that faith in that there's so much more to coaching football than X's and O's. It's about developing men, developing culture, and getting them to buy in. And I think with the shortage of 5 stars and very minimal 4-star, per se athletes on Indiana's roster compared to everyone else, I think that is exemplified by keeping a standard, running a program appropriately, and execute. So I love every time Cignetti's interviewed. I think he's wound a little bit different than most. I don't know if I agree with his facial expressions on the sidelines. I'm a little happier, a little different, but it's definitely intense, focused, and it's effective. So it's been fun to watch.
Well, I was looking at this seasons of the postseason, the playoff brackets, the playoff games. And it's been more fun as a viewer by just seeing new teams involved. Like, when's the last time the Indiana's been in the playoff?
This is true, yeah.
Miami University hasn't been in since 2001.
Mm-hmm.
So you're seeing new schools, so you know how you hear people say, I'm tired of seeing the same old teams year after year.
A dynasty.
So I think that is a big reason why it's so exciting to watch the playoffs this year.
Do you think the Blue Bloods will ever go away, though?
No.
Your blue bloods are still going to be the cream of the crop.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still have that aurora of when you walk into Georgia and play Georgia, play Alabama, play Ohio State. You're still going to be faced of, we got to play our top-notch football to beat these guys. Like Dad preaches all the time. When you play Ohio State and we're in Indiana, that was your Super Bowl. If you could beat that team because they were normally ranked.
That was your season.
On the record. That's so you're getting the best of everybody.
So that is almost changed the way blue bloods are viewed now.
I think there's going to be more blue bloods. Is the effect. You're going to get more of them. Instead of having Alabama, Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, Oregon, about 10 of them, 10 blue bloods, you're going to turn into about 20. And that's my opinion.
What do you think of the argument that it will go to who has the bigger budget? Who has the biggest?
Probably going to play into it.
Who has the biggest donors?
The best team.
Who can put together the most? Bourbon is not a recipe for winning because Indiana has already proven that.
They also have a big donor, though. They have a big alumni, is what they're preaching.
Oh, okay.
Indiana has a large alumni base.
So do we know what their NIL contribution is?
But yet, that's alumni base. But yeah, you got alumni from Oregon, pretty dang rich. Has more money.
Phil Knight from
Knight. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Now, that was a huge recruiting benefit for him, regardless, just because of the way the kids, they want to go where the uniforms are awesome, where the shoes look good, look good, play good, feel good, look good, feel good, play good, Deion Sanders, that kind of stuff. I think that gave him a huge competitive advantage before the NIL. I think there were some form of NIL happening, maybe unofficially too. But I think that now that it's out in the open and it goes to the highest bidder, I think it's going to be a real interesting dynamic. I don't think there's going to be blue bloods anymore. I think it's
going to get taken to court.
Who's got the hot pocket? Who's got the hot wallet?
I think the court systems are going to end up deciding what the salary caps. These colleges can't be forking out.
They need to have some kind of regulation.
Yeah, we got to have some kind of body, which
do we have a regulating body?
The NCAA, but they have no power. So
that's scary.
And they don't have the background. We need someone to cross over from the NFL.
Yes.
And form a committee of couple NFL guys, like say in Nick Saban, some ex-coaches, and set on a panel and come up with the guidelines that they feel is fair. That those guys could figure all that out. And it's going to have to be taken to court.
It might take some seasons, it looks like. They're still trying to figure out what's the best format of college football in the playoffs.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to have kids running rampant.
You went from 4 to 12. We've seen the 12 play well for teams that were lower ranked with Ohio State got in and had to make their run, and now you're seeing Miami make their run. But you're also seeing a prelude of teams that have a bye, and they're off 25 days, 30 days, and it's not they're not benefiting from it.
Yeah, that's a great point.
7 out of 18.
That week 1 bye thing, is that what you're talking about? That 25 days idle?
2 years, 7 out of 8 teams.
Yeah, and we had talked, I think, before about we could change a lot of, or they could change a lot of things by adding 4 more teams.
Yeah.
Is that
or completely eliminate. I think you could stay at 12. I would rather see it go to 16, but you could stay at 12 and everybody have to play the first week. There would be no bye.
There would be no, yeah. And I think knowing now that the data is there, they got to do something, right?
But let's think of the reason that they have those byes.
Okay.
Because they want the 4 best teams that are in the playoff to actually get the 4 weakest teams available. It's hard to explain. You understand what I'm saying? They can accomplish the same thing by going to 16 teams and letting that top 4 teams play, 12 through 16.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, I got you. And it didn't work out in Ohio State's favor, unfortunately, being number 2. They faced number 10 Miami, and
Miami was better than 10, and that's the advantage Ohio State got to use last year, if you remember. because they came in with 2 losses, right? And they were ranked lower, but yet they were better than the 2 losses. And like this year, the 2 losses that they have are both in the national title game.
Yes, that's true. I was so glad to see that.
So anyway, yeah.
For Ohio State.
But so Miami U got the same kind of thing going on this year. Is they're a better team than what
their record
their ranking was?
Yeah.
And they were, well, the ACC wasn't respected, right? Up till now, the ACC didn't carry much weight.
That's a good point.
Listen to this. They went 9-4 in bowl games. The ACC.
And the ACC champion of the conference didn't even get the Matic bye. You know, Miami, Florida was their representative, and they were projected outside, weren't they? Until the very last. They had Notre Dame in there, and then when the committee met for the final time, that's when they made their flip.
Now, the Big Ten being favored, right? They're kind of being favored in this playoff. Were 10-5. So they were a game better in the win column, but they were also a game worse or a game more in the loss column. But they basically led the post or the bowl games. Then you look at SEC bowl games, 4-10. Those roles seem to have flipped this year
between the SEC and the ACC. Yeah.
So I don't know, what ongoing effect that's going to be, but those numbers tell a lot.
And you almost have to wonder, is it because the talent level is spread out now?
NIL.
Because of the NIL?
I think so.
That you talk about the bowl games being so competitive and enjoyable to watch, it's because of there's players that would normally not be there, being able to be there and show their talent, and it's allowing the other teams to be great.
Yeah. So I looked up NIL spending by school and like top 10 teams, and these top 10 teams outside of LSU made a run for college football playoffs: Ohio State, Texas, Texas Tech, Oregon, Miami, Florida, Mississippi, Georgia, Indiana, Alabama. So where the money goes, so will the win column go. It looks like the tendency. Obviously, it didn't work out for Ohio State, but they're at the top with $35 million, which I was surprised. And then Texas is right there with Arch Manning. They got a big chunk contract with him. But then Texas Tech, I didn't realize was up there as much as NIL spending at $28 million.
I'd like to see the numbers then on those teams that you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
How many they sent to the NFL? Like Ohio State has a rebuilding effect.
Yes,
they sent 14 starters to the NFL. 14. So I mean that's not a record because Michigan.
This is based off this past
season. That their national championship year too. But that's telling as well.
And when you talk about that too, Ohio State had 14. You would think this is a rebuilding year.
That's what I said. So they're in a rebuilding process supposedly. So what they got a youth movement, and they were still able to. People forgot that fact that they sent 14 starters to the NFL. Because they were 10-0 or 11-0, they went through their season and they looked pretty sound and they were ranked.
Texas said 12.
Yeah.
So
and they dropped back.
Oregon.
So that tells you
10, Georgia 13.
That's my point. Makes my point even more. Ohio State did extremely well
considering what they lost.
Yeah. And when you were talking about that list of teams, what comes to my mind is development. I think that. Yeah, you can go ahead and drop a bag is what they're saying and spend the money to get these players, get the Colemans, to come play for you, but you got to be able to develop them in your system. We talk a lot.
They got to fit.
We feel like the system is still going to be the determination of how you end up winning games. Miami's right now, determination is their strength. That's their toughness, their offensive line, their defensive line. That's what's winning them ball games.
And honestly, they're secondary too. Their secondary, it causes a lot of fits because when your receivers are not getting open, it causes problems for the offensive line because you can only sustain your block for so long. Right?
Luckily,
yeah. And so I think the secondary is more impressive to me. I mean, the D-line is without a doubt the big talk. They got the big hogs and they do a fantastic job. But those coverage sacks, they call them coverage sacks, right? I would be curious to see the number of coverage sacks versus actual, because their secondary does a lot of good things, in my opinion. And obviously that pick six, and that kid just came back off of the pick six against Ohio State that I felt took the air right out of the whole stadium. And that was from a kid who had watched Phil. It was somebody that knew where the ball was going and was ready to be there. And
his attention wasn't drawn elsewhere.
Yeah.
But did you guys watch the Rams game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you see Matthew Stafford, the way he was using his eyes to control the secondary? Did you?
Yeah, a lot of, and that's all.
He would look over here with his eyes, but his peripheral vision would see the pattern that was going on, and he would throw. You look, sort of like Pat Mahomes does.
Sure.
Look over here and then throw over there.
Yeah, because if your eyes are going, the safety's going quarterback's eyes, he's thinking he's going that way, and he does that. So it takes a lot of it takes some athleticism there, but it also takes timing between the quarterback and the receiver. They ran that route so many times. He knows, and because they probably set those scenarios up and ran through those so many times, he already knows. He doesn't even have to look. Which could be dangerous, though. It could be dangerous, too, if you're... but yeah, you're absolutely right. But Miami, back to the college football thing, Miami's secondary, as I feel, kept them in some really good situations, and their defense line's disgusting. I mean, they're huge and hard to contain and block. It's going to be a fantastic national championship.
I'm curious to watch that line battle, the line of scrimmage battle, both sides. I'm curious. It's going to be fun to watch.
It is.
So talking college football, there's been a lot of shakeup, lots, and I almost don't want to say they're calling it the Kiffin effect. Lane Kiffin made a $92 million deal to leave Ole Miss to go to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
And then for Ole Miss to promote Pete Golden and what Pete Golden was able to do in the preparation of getting to the playoffs with Ole Miss, he was able to even maintain the number 2 ranked class coming in next year as well, which is a really impressive thing for me. And then you have the Brian Kelly. The thing that shocks me is that there's a $54 million buyout. So letting him go in the beginning of the year to bring in a Lane Kiffin and spend $92 million, and you still have a $54 million buyout to pay Brian Kelly is insane kind of money. And it makes me wonder what kind of NIL money, what other money do they have left to spend in the transfer portal to get kids? So is Lane going to be able to automatically go into an LSU team and take it over? Or is he going to have to build it back up after a couple of years because of the buyout? And then you have the whole Penn State switch Shisharu. He let James Franklin go because he had a rough year. It seemed like he could never win the big games. That's kind of what his, Aurora was. And then they go and get a Matt Campbell, who I think is an excellent choice for Penn State. So looking at it that way, the Big Ten, I think, improved because you're getting a winning guy in Matt Campbell and a guy that makes players buy into the system. And then you have the Florida reset where you had John Summerall become the winning guy at that Macon, coming from a Tulane team who made the playoffs the last 2 years. That looks really good for Florida. But the biggest one I want to talk about is Michigan, the team up north. Kyle Whittingham was at Utah for a very, very long time. He kind of had his guys buy into him. He brought over 5 Utah coaches with him, kind of cleaned house. And I think everyone agrees because of the whole Jim Harbaugh scandal, the Sharon Moore scandal, that's probably the best thing Michigan could have done. Not just for Michigan, but for the Big Ten as well. So
he's older. He's an older coach. He's not going to be a 20-year man or anything like that. I mean, he's already close to 70 or 70 something, right around there. So he's not long there. So I think his time is short, and what he needs to accomplish is just getting I think their main goal and his goal is to get the program back on track, because they have taken a hit. They've taken a hit in the NIL. They kids transferring out because of coaching changes. It's just they've taken a hit program-wise, their reputation-wise. They're in a mess. So I think he is the guy to get them back on track. That's all he's there for. And that gives them time to search for a longer-term guy, like the guy at Penn State hired. He was pretty young, right?
Yeah, Matt Campbell is very young.
He's from he coached at Iowa State, correct?
Yeah. Do you think the NIL is allowing great players to enter the portal, to go to other teams, that allows the coaches to be elevated at their level, to where you have great talent and it makes you look good and your team's winning and it allows you to get a better job than where you are now? Do you think the NIL has done that lately? We're seeing some of these guys being able to go from James Madison to a bigger team, bigger D1 top pedigree teams.
Yeah, I mean, where talent goes, so does the win columns a lot of times, but that doesn't, I think, because the market is so flooded right now and unregulated, you got to be the right guy. You got to choose the right guy too. And just because an NIL value at this program versus what that, I think it's a gamble. But I think what sticks out is the framework, the skeletal makeup of your coaching philosophy and the type of culture that you bring, and that you're able to build. And sometimes I think coaches go into environments that have trouble building a culture that they're accustomed to because it doesn't fit into the dynamic of where they're landing. So some coaches, I feel, do better in other environments when they leave and find another culture that is more assimilated to what they're used to, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I think the NIL, the high percentage of players that enter the NIL are players that are second and third teamers that aren't getting the amount of playing time that they think they deserve. So I think that's the majority of the NIL players.
Yeah.
And then there's a few of the disgruntled ones that are top-notch talent that get in there, but those aren't as much as the second and third teamers, in my opinion.
No. That's true.
So I just the way I see it.
Yeah. Real quick, back to Matt Campbell. Let's not breeze over that too much, because yes, that's a huge job, but it's also big for, again, Northeast Ohio.
Yep.
I mean, you're talking about a Massillon guy, you're talking about a Mount Union guy, and I love Larry. I always mispronounce it. Larry Kers, right? It's Keheres, the famous coach of Mount Union for national championship winning. That has produced NFL quality coaches. So not only did he play at some of the greatest programs in Ohio, it's an awesome representation for the area. I think him landing.
That's cool. I never thought about.
I think it's pronounced Kearns.
I'll tell you this much, just from what I see from a coach at Iowa State.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State, he was able to take a smaller program like Iowa State and make them competitive with the bigger programs.
Yeah.
So that's what you're going to see. Penn State going to move right back. It ain't going to take them long to get right back to the top.
I don't think so. And I think it's not being from this area where so much good football, I think it's really going to help them recruiting. And especially if you think of some of the programs that he's associated with.
Yeah.
That have winning, those are winning programs. Massillon's no joke. Neither is Mount Union.
Signetti
came from Pennsylvania somewhere.
Who's the Eagles head coach?
Oh, Sirianni.
Coach. He played Mount and coach. There's a graduate assistant or coach, something along those lines. He came from another winning program, another winning culture that you just take and you implement somewhere else.
And then you have Vince, Larry's son, who was with Mount Union for a while. Then he went to Toledo for about 5 years to make his own, and just got the upgrade to go to Syracuse to be the defense coordinator, and that's huge. So from a guy like him learning from his dad and being able to go to Austin Fitch,
a Meyer coach,
and then the Mount Union as well.
Not Toledo, we're
Bowling Green. Yeah, it's a coaching step, for him. And I think I've seen him. I've gotten to see him speak at coaches clinics and stuff like that. He is a very knowledgeable guy. He's got a presence about him. And I think, it's just another example of good football coming from our area, Northeast Ohio.
And then we can't forget about Hartline. Hartline being the offense coordinator for a very long time. At Ohio State, he went to the NFL, became the receivers coach, I guess, to begin with, and then became the offensive coordinator. Now he's got a head coaching job. So he kind of came into that same pattern, learned under greats, learned how to coach players, to be a player's coach. So I think a lot of those guys are all similar. And maybe it's not necessarily the NIL that's bringing these coaches better jobs. Maybe they had kind of learned and kind of had their time underneath the Sabins. You look at Saban's resume, all the coaches he's had.
All 4 teams that were in college football.
You look at all those
guys were under him at some point.
So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the NIL isn't the reason why head coaches are getting better jobs. Maybe it's because there's been guys like Larry's and Saban's who have set up these coaches for success. So
you got to have results. That's the whole thing.
Results.
Because if Brian Hartline doesn't get the results, my concern with Brian Hartline taking the job that he did, it might be a little bigger than where I feel that he should have started with. I think he should have started with a MAC team, or, you know what I mean? And then build himself up. But, what is it? Florida International? There are no South Florida.
It's not USF. Yeah.
Yeah. South Florida. That's a pretty good size team. That's a pretty good team.
Yeah. It's a good program.
It's got a good program. I mean, it ain't in the top notch, but it's close. I just wonder about that step. But anyway, I wish him luck. I hope he succeeds.
Yeah. So finishing up with the NIL, it goes for another 5 days. It ends on the 16th, and I was talking with Dad on off camera. It's 31.5% of the college players that are enrolled to play football are in the portal right now. That's between 4,500 and 6,000 players right now.
Isn't it messed up that they're allowed to open the portal while the season is still technically
have no structure?
That is that's insane. I don't think they should be allowed.
It's unfair.
Exactly. Absolutely. And then you got all this, the Lane Kiffin coaches and, you're danged if you do, you're danged if you don't, because he needs them out. They're out recruiting right now.
Yeah.
You should not be allowed to change teams as a coach until after your last game. And if you're in the playoffs, you cannot convince me any different than the Brian Hartline move cost Ohio State the national championship this year. I think that move caused enough distraction because they weren't the same team after that.
You think
in my opinion.
Okay.
That's my opinion. They weren't the same in the Big Ten championship, and they weren't the same in the college football playoffs.
Unfortunately, you could say the same thing about Ole Miss, but Ole Miss, I think, kids spot in better in that situation. So
that was even a bigger move because that was head coaching involved.
Yeah.
And Lane Kiffin was allowed to stay involved. He just wasn't allowed to be on the sidelines too. So he was talking to the kids by phone.
I think the biggest one right now was the Desmond Williams Jr., the Washington quarterback.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah.
Who entered his name into the transfer portal, and Washington said no.
Well, that's because he had 8 days before signed a $4 million contract.
Yeah, you should be held accountable.
And so then surprisingly, the news said, "Oh, he's probably going to stay at Washington." No.
So I guess the reason I brought it up is because do you think other colleges around college football are watching that right now, and are planning to be? We're going to have a contract set in mind that you can't enter the transfer portal for
It's going to be part of your contract,
a year or 2 years. So I think that might slow the NIL down a little bit.
Yeah. You want paid.
Yeah, but is that going to cause players not to sign with certain teams now? Like if I got offered by Ohio State and you tell me I'm going to get $10 million to play, but I have to sign a contract for 2 years, I could go play for Florida Atlantic, only sign a 1-year contract. I could enter the portal next year if I want, and I'll get $7 million.
If it has an effect, probably the lesser players. I don't know. It'll definitely have an effect.
Is that percentage going to?
But it's going to be a good thing for college football overall.
Is that percentage going to go up? Do we think 31.5 is going to go up next year?
I think it'll go down.
You think it'll go down?
Yeah, I think those contracts are what they should have been doing all along. They should, if like your mom is a big opponent of, you sign a contract with Ohio State to get 4 years of free education. This was before the NIL. Then you should be held to that, unless you have a hardship. Isn't that the way it used to be? The only way you could transfer was a hardship?
Yeah, they're going to have to do some kind of regulation.
They got to.
They had too much invested.
And that's happened where a player has signed, with one team and took the money. Well, I don't know how much of it he got, but agreed to that money and then picked up and left and went to another school. The same off season.
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, that's not...
They're going to have to do something to regulate.
Yeah. That's why I was saying earlier, they need to have that governing body really bad.
And you briefly talked about 14 players last year going to the NFL.
Yeah.
5 alone this year are going to go into probably the first round.
First rounders.
You know, there's 5 right now that are ranked in the top 30 that are going in the first round. Harville Reese, Caleb Downs, Carnell Tate are the top 3 in the 15. You know, that's for being with the way football's going right now. That's just, it's crazy. With supposed to be in a rebuilding year, you have 3 Buckeyes in the top.
I mean, you look at that talent, that pool of talent you just named off. That's national championship quality.
Yes.
Why didn't they win it? Why did they not look like themselves? Because of the distraction of Brian Hartline. That's my explanation.
I think they got beat up. I think the front line struggled this year.
I think they did too. They weren't prepared.
They talked about it that they whiffed last year in the transfer portal. They brought a couple tackles in and tried to fill those gap, and it unfortunately didn't work. The whole right side did not work out well for them. And Surveillance, is that how you say his last name? The last tackle from Ohio State.
I don't know.
They got beat against Miami. Miami G line pushed those guys around.
Oh yeah, they were out physical. Out physical. So
Unfortunately, Mason was right. He kept telling you how good their defensive line was, and they were for everything he built them to be.
Yeah, and we talked. Dad and I talked briefly.
they were the real deal.
After the game, and I said, Dad, that offensive line is ranked in the top 5, and the defense is ranked in the top 10.
That in the Big Ten championship game, not to interrupt you, was the battle against a good defense, and they held their own. It was almost an even battle up front.
So do you think previewing the national championship game, do you think they look at Ohio State and say, well, how did Ohio State and Indiana only be a 3-point game, but Ohio State and Miami, Florida was it 14 or 17 point game? Like, Ohio State played both teams.
Yeah.
You have Ohio State rated at number 1 all year round, and then you have them finishing 2. You got to look at that matchups between Indiana and Miami playing Ohio State, and how did Indiana win that game, and how did Miami dominate Ohio State?
There's too many variables, though. I'd like a distraction.
Distractions is probably a huge one.
You know, talent, injuries. There's so many variables you call it.
Do we have any projections before we translate into NFL or for the college play championship?
For the national championship,
I got to stick with Big Ten.
you going with the Big Ten? Indiana?
I do. I think they have more talent.
I really do too.
I think it's
And they have a coaching edge.
I think it's a Cinderella story. I think Indiana not being a Reveille program for as long as they have been, is you becoming the number 1 team and dominating. I mean, they dominated Oregon. They put up.
Yeah, that was a spanking.
The question is, talk about that team.
Okay.
Go ahead and answer the question. Well, let's not get off that subject.
I'm with you guys. I think Indiana all the way. I think, but somebody argued, well, it's scripted because Mendoza's from Miami. It's being hosted in Miami, but I don't think any type of scripting is good for any type of product. So I don't think it's quite scripted. I think it's a fantastic example of doing more with less.
You know, that was a motivation against Ohio State too, right?
What's that?
That Jeremiah Smith is from
From Miami, yeah.
South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And Ohio State has several South Florida players, and that was it played together against each other, high school, things like that. So there was another incentive, for Miami to come in and knock off.
And good for Miami.
And they also were written off too. Mm-hmm. You know, they lost the 2 games in the regular season, and everyone kind of wrote them off. They didn't make the ACC championship game. They were before the final rankings got unraveled. Excuse me. They were outside. Of the top 12.
Yeah, they were barely made.
They weren't even supposed to be there.
Yeah.
And then for them to get in
and go where they are,
they had something to prove.
Yeah.
And then they kept proving it and kept proving it and kept proving it. And now they're in the national championship.
Yep. What a cool story, Carson Beck. I mean, that's a great story in itself too. And
I don't believe in it. I'm sorry, I'm not a believer.
Well,
if he gets pressured, he throws the ball away.
Sure,
he's ineffective. He's not accurate.
He has shortcomings.
Yeah.
He doesn't have it all, but I think his overall story, overcoming the major injury that he did, and reinventing himself, And
sometimes you don't have to do it. You don't have to do it all to win. You get surrounded by the right team, the right system.
Yeah.
That offensive line, you could sit there all day long in that pocket and they have a great running back. So he doesn't have to be perfect for them to win. The defense is great. Their offensive line's great. You don't have to. You can be an average quarterback in that system to win, and that's what they're doing. So,
but Beck, I'm not talking bad about him. I'm not saying I'm not sold on him.
Mm-hmm.
I'd kind of root for him because of the adversity he's had to face. I'm not saying that he's terrible. I'm just saying I'm not sold on his NFL ready.
Sure. I don't know if, I just think it's a cool story. I wouldn't say he was one of my favorite quarterbacks this year. Like, obviously, I'm not a huge Miami fan anyways, but I can't help but root for him. I can't help but root for him. Yeah, especially for me, since I don't know why he likes it. Yeah, I do. You've been going. I got pictures of you shooting next to the statues of Woody Hayes since you were a little kid. I thought I raised you better, but I get trying to find your own identity.
Yeah,
and I'm glad that the team that he's tried to find identity in is having success. It makes it a little easier, especially in this family.
Josh McClellan went for Texas Tech.
I thought he liked Alabama.
I think it was Texas Tech, wasn't it? I'm pretty sure it was Texas Tech.
Needless to say,
no. I'm mistaken. Texas A&M.
Texas A&M.
It was Josh's favorite team was Texas A&M.
Okay.
Needless to say,
and all the rest of us were Buckeye fans.
January 19th, the championship game. Indiana's a 7.5 favorite. 7.5 spread favorite over Miami at the Hard Rock Stadium, which is in Miami, Florida, their home field.
Miami in the points, baby.
We'll see. I don't think it's gonna be quite that far. I think it's gonna be a lot closer.
Oh, yeah.
I think being a home field like that, national championship, they have everything to prove. They have the defensive line. They have the offensive line. I think they're gonna keep it close. I think it'll be a good one. I think it'll be one to remember.
Look at the common opponent.
So we'll see.
Back to Oregon before we discuss this. How safe is Dan Lanning? He got boat raced by the Ohio State Buckeyes last year in the Rose Bowl, and he got exited. This year he got boat raced again.
He's got one more year on his contract, I saw. He's through the 2026 season. So if they don't pick his option up, I think next year is his last year to prove it. But yeah.
I wouldn't want to be a head coach in college football right now.
No, because not with all the money involved.
I think explain it to your wife, hey, we're going to move here, but we might pick up a move in a couple years.
You better be able to show. That's like Ryan Day, if we want to be honest about it. But Dave's job was on the line last year. But by winning the national championship, it bought him another year. You know what I mean? It bought him the future, which I think he was in. I think he was legit.
I definitely think it secured him.
I think he was in legit trouble.
But even if he was in trouble,
hadn't beat the team up north, dude.
Like you talk about Dan Lanning too. Dan Lanning's coaching career, his resume that he has right now is still going to be able to get him another coaching job. He's not going to have a coaching job. He's going to be a top candidate. Even if Ryan Day would have got let go, Ryan Day would have been a top candidate. So I feel like if you're going to come at Dan Lanning and be like, hey, you got one more year to prove it and then you're out, how much is Dan Lanning going to be like, you know what? I'm going to start doing what Lane Kiffin did. Towards the end of this year, I'm going to keep eyeballing the next big job, opening up and taking that chance because you gave up on me. So why should I stick it out?
What do you see? I mean, I'm looking at Oregon as putting out a lot of money.
Yeah.
And not to win national titles, to just make the playoffs every year is not going to get it.
No, you got.
And then get boat raced. I mean, they got their butt whipped 2 years in a row.
Yeah, they did.
So embarrassing losses, if you ask me, in the playoffs. But enough.
But just to finish that up before we go to the NFL, Dante Morris is right now projected as number 2 quarterback. You know, does that hurt his resume right now, the way he got beat against Indiana, a great team like that? Did that help Mendoza even, cement his number 1 quarterback coming out? I mean, I think time will tell after the draft, or after the season's over, and you have the draft coming up, you have the combine coming up, you have the pro days. I think a lot of that's going to separate those guys between 1 and 2. But there were, for a while, those 2 were the top 2 quarterbacks. There was such a small gap.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that gap even rose more because of they got beat, or do you think it's too hard to tell right now?
I don't see much draft value being as affected by their performance.
One game performance.
Do you?
No, I think it's more of an accumulative.
I think there are a lot of layers of the onion of making it.
Yeah,
perhaps. So I don't necessarily think it's going to be one way or another.
The only way it would is like if every time he struggled on games that it was against like a 3-4 defense.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something he struggled at over and over.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think it's a full body of work. And I think a lot of it too, at least these days, it seems like to me, I could be wrong, it might be in my opinion, but I think cultures are a big deal. So like when you sit down and have meetings with the 32 teams, and what you say has a lot to do with it. You know what I mean? And what systems that you work well in.
And how many current NFL coaches right now were high prospects going into the draft versus unknown and then, emerged? So there's a lot of those stories too. There's a lot of examples in the NFL of guys coming from smaller schools and doing well in the NFL. So they're not guaranteed just because
You would have thought a kid from Bowling Green.
there's all kinds of different.
He's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He catches anything that's thrown to him.
Yeah, you're talking about Fannin again.
Fannin, that's right. Did you watch any of him this year?
Yeah.
I know you're not a Browns fan, but
I mean, I watched him, yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely
he's special.
making the Falcons proud. That's for
He's
sure.
special though, dude. I mean, if you throw him the ball and it's in his vicinity, he's going to go get it.
Without a doubt, he's definitely one of the better NFL rookies.
You think it's got to do with his size?
I think it's a combination.
Because he's able to put his body. That's what I see too much of anymore in the NFL is players put their body in positions for danger than what they should.
Mm.
Now, I watched somebody like Puka Nacua. What's how you say his last name? Nacua?
Yeah.
Puka Nacua last night. He has a knack of avoiding big hits. Like, he sees somebody coming, he ducks at the right time, and almost the defenders almost every time end up hitting each other. It's like, oh my God, he's just got a knack for that. So I think Fannin's production has a lot to do with that too.
So the Browns are entering a massive transition. They're coming off.
I'm trying to give you a transition.
Are we transitioning the NFL? Do we want to cut to Danielle real quick and see how she's doing and see what the Danielle's Daily got at and then we'll transition?
Yep.
Okay, so every episode we always have a little positive light shined in by our sister Danielle. She searches the internet's high and low to find a good positive story to share with all of us. And so what do you got for us today, Danielle?
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year to you all, and welcome back to another inspirational story. This one today, we are going to talk about Ryan Halsey from the New York Mets baseball team. Halsey wanted to let you guys know that his faith in God keeps him grounded, whether he experiences successful stuff or failure. It doesn't matter to him, but either way, he puts it towards God. Baseball is a sport of failure, and the Bible has a lot that teaches us about failure. Ways we can get through the ups and downs. See, that's what the Bible teaches us, guys. We can either learn to fail or learn to success. Halsey went from the Western Illinois Fellowship of Christian Athletes banquet. He told me this in the statement. I wouldn't be where I am today. Which it can mean a lot for all of us, We wouldn't be where we are today. So that's another thing we can learn out of this, Growing up in Oklahoma, where he's from, Halsey and his brothers were often in church with his parents and grandparents. That foundation together has helped him live out his faith in his profession, which still happens to be baseball. If you guys are all baseball fans, When he spoke at the event, it is really cool to be all gathered in God's home or in God's honor. I think that's a really cool thing to just be a banquet, and speak in front of everybody. just to have, that faith and beauty, speaking God's honor, I think that would be really awesome to do. So I'm going to leave you with this. Just remember, we can either all fail together or we can succeed in life, but it's up to you. But I would rather see a success in life. So I'm just going to leave you with that. So that's all for now. See you next time. Back to you, Jason and Ryan.
Thanks, Danielle. It was awesome. As always, we appreciate it. Always positive. It's good.
Always inspiring, Danielle.
Yeah, we love having you being a part of the podcast. I know you do too. So that was a great Danielle's Daily Dose. Let's get back to football. Yeah, we were talking about the NFL.
Bobby NFL.
We got games going on, playoff right now. Some fun, a lot of stories. So let's transition.
Yeah, well, we got 8 teams that are looking for new head coaches.
Yeah. Yep. Is it 8?
8.
8. Yeah. Wow. It's there.
It grew, didn't it? Because it started out at 5.
That's right, or 5 or 6.
Then after the end of this regular season was over, it was 5, and then it expanded to 8. McDaniel's, the Miami Dolphins, was the latest casualty. Before that was Harbaugh, which was kind of unexpected. Wow. So
come to Cleveland.
Yeah, that's not it.
It would be great.
So yeah, it would be great for Cleveland, and that's actually what they need is a good, solid coach that can come in and change the culture right after that.
Prove it.
So improve the culture. Stefanski didn't have a terrible culture. He lost it this year, and that's extremely what ended it. That's why he ended up getting fired.
So yeah, they're entering a massive transition. They finished 5-12 this year. There was some positives. They won both of their last back-to-back interconference teams, beating the Steelers, beating the Bengals. Shador kind of seems like the front runner for next year. Still a lot of unknowns if they're going to draft another quarterback in the draft like they normally have. Are they going to stick it out? Because if you look at the roster, you got him and Deshaun Watson, and then you've got the other guy from Oregon, Dylan Gabriel. So do you want to add another quarterback in that mix?
Gabriel has no shot.
So that's a little bit unknown. And then the head coach, and you talked about with the head coach, and Kevin Stefanski's out. Andrew Berry had emphasized that he wants to find a leader and a partner, someone who could take the young roster. The young roster right now, because of the success that they're having in the drafts last year, with Fanning and Junkins, you got
Harbaugh's out.
You got to find someone that's going to be able to relate to the youth, I think, and be able to take the youth and do something with it. Right now, they have a couple candidates. They got the offense coordinator from Bengals, offense coordinator from Ravens, and the defense coordinator from Seahawks. And I think Jim Schwartz was kind of thrown in there, but I think Barry and them came out and said they want to keep Jim Schwartz where he's at. They don't want to disrupt his defensive coach's position right now.
I don't understand that.
I think it's him.
The defensive coordinator is always attached to the head coach. Both coordinators. Usually, when you fire your head coach, you're firing your complete coaching staff.
Yeah.
And the reason that they said otherwise, almost pinpoints to who they're going to hire as a head coach. We're keeping Jim Schwartz under contract. We think a lot of Jim Schwartz, is what they said.
He's a strong support.
Because he's only been there, this will be his second year? Third year.
Third, I would think.
But
you mean completion of this season?
Huh?
This would have been year 2 for him, right?
That's what I said. Your complete seasons have been 2 years.
Yeah.
And he's done great things. I think it's 3, though, because I think his first year, he did really well with the defense. Let's find out. Last year, they kind of struggled on defense. This year, they excelled again. Let's find out.
I'm going to look it up right now.
Yeah, I thought you had said that with him being an defensive coordinator, that defense has been a top defense.
It's been a top 5 defense. Let me read you some of this stuff. This is real good stuff, by the way. Let's talk, while we're on the Browns, let's talk about what's it going to take to get the Browns to turn around, to become a competitive team for the division, which is something they're not used to. And that is play complementary football. You have a guy in Myles Garrett who is going to end up being the most valuable defensive player of the year.
For sure. And he broke it as well.
He broke the sack record that Michael Strahan and TJ Watt shared with a losing team. TJ Watt was on a winning team. Michael Strahan won the to tight the sack title the same year they went to the Super Bowl and won it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that say about Myles Garrett? Myles Garrett is so damn good that he broke the record getting double teamed, triple teamed, game planned around. If you watch the last, I'm getting too excited.
The Steelers game for sure.
They lost. The Steelers lost that game because they were too worried about Myles Garrett breaking the record against them.
Yep.
Cincinnati played that same way, but if you watch when he broke the record, he was faster off the ball than the tackle was, and the tackles always get a jump.
Mm-hmm. Would you take a Strahan saying it had something to do with an extra game?
It got blown out of proportion because it has nothing to do with he was just kind of like trying to downplay it that his record got broken, but it really wasn't a good statement to make for a simple fact that Myles Garrett had less snaps.
Oh, see, I did not know that. So Myles Garrett actually had less snaps than Michael.
Extremely a lot. Myles had something like 400 snaps. Mm-hmm. So let's just use that for a number.
Yeah.
Michael Strahan had like 600.
You know why he had less?
In less games. Yeah, because the
offense stunk. Yeah. So the question I have in mind is you had 12 losses this year. How many of that was because back it up. You had 12 losses of the year. Myles Garrett didn't help you enough to help that percentage, 5 and 12.
When you're always playing from behind, the other team's not throwing the ball.
So the question comes is next year, what do they need to do better? They need to do better.
They got to have a quarterback. That's where it all starts.
I think it's the line.
They have to have an offense. Your line can't play like, okay, let's take this year's line for an example.
Okay.
You had some Pro Bowlers along that line. Yes, they were moving guys around. Ethan Posick was their center. He went down mid-season. You know who his backup was? Luke Whippler. Remember that name? Ohio State. He's been there. He got drafted by the Browns. He's been with the Browns. He stepped right in, and you couldn't tell the difference between him and Posick, to be honest with you. Now, he doesn't have as much game time as experience as Posick had, but he called the game as a center. You know, he was developed. Okay, so then you had Joe Bitonio, a Pro Bowler. You had Wyatt Teller, a Pro Bowler, and those are your two guards. Where you were hurting, you had Jack Conklin at right tackle, and he did his normal yearly thing and getting injured out for the season. But Jack Conklin's a Pro Bowler. We didn't have a left tackle. DeJuan Jones got injured early season, like first game or preseason game, out for the year. So their offensive line has not, for what injuries that they've had to put up with, has not done that well. You can't be two rookie quarterbacks, Gabriel, Shedora, and hold on to the ball for over 3 seconds. You better be getting rid of that ball in the NFL in 2.5 seconds. It better be out of your hands. So if you're holding it longer than that, you're doing what's the word I'm looking for? You're not doing a justice to the offensive line. If you're not connecting on passes, that's not your offensive line's ball. It's not like they led the league in sacks.
No. And, let's look at some of their losses. Well, or circle back real quick. Jim Schwartz was there 3 years. So he was hired. He's been there 3 years. Myles Garrett, your snap count thing, he was 437 snap count.
Yeah.
Compared to 567 of Michael Strahan. Or just for the
big difference and less games. So that defeats
the argument. Okay. And then I was just curious at how many games the Browns were in. And there were 5 games this past season that were winnable games for them.
Yeah.
5 games that were decided by 8 points or fewer. So, they weren't completely terrible. There were a lot of
They were about the defense?
I'm just talking about the Cleveland Browns in general. As a whole, they were, the record does not look very well, but it's a 1-point loss to the Bengals week 1, 3-point loss to the Packers week 3. There was a 1 possession finish with the Patriots week 8. They lost to the Titans by 2. They lost to the Bengals by 2 later in the season in 4 points. So they were right there in 5 of their games. So,
Tennessee, they lost because they went for 2.
Correct.
There was a few things here and there that cost them wins.
Yeah.
But
And then we're having a completely different discussion
Exactly. They went the other way.
if they went the other way.
They were the defense. This season, 2025, were third in passing and fourth in total yards. They are a top 5 defense. Top 5.
Yeah.
And they only won 5 games.
And they only won 5 games.
But they were able, just under the leadership of Jim Schwartz, they were third in passing yards allowed. Overall defense, top 5. Total yards allowed, 4th fewest in the NFL. Defensive line ranked as the number 1 defensive line by PFF. Points allowed, they were ranked 17th, 23 points a game. But there again, that's injustice because of they're on the field the whole damn game instead of the offense doing their share. Complimentary.
Yep.
Myles Garrett able to win the Defensive Player of the Year award for sure, and then break the record in that season. Impact strong players, Carson Schwarzenegger, rookie. He led the team in tackles, I do believe.
He had over 150 tackles.
Is that linebacker we drafted?
Oh my gosh, can you imagine if JOK was healthy?
Right.
And we had the combination of those 2 linebackers? Boy, we'd have the best linebacking core in the NFL. The other one was Mason Graham at nose, plus they got the kid from Ohio State back this year that was injured last year. Hall Jr. Remember Hall Jr.?
Yes.
Another player drafted. So overall, I feel the defense has done extremely well for what they've had to deal with, the adversity that they went through.
So I think finding a head coach to...
I think it's Jim Schwartz.
and if you take Jim Schwartz out of his defensive calling role, you're bringing in another guy with a new scheme and a
No, he'll be the head coach.
He'll have to say on the defense.
He will run. It'll be his defense. He'll hire a defensive coordinator that has the same philosophy as him.
Correct.
So Jim Schwartz's stamp will still be on. Here's another telling factor that it's going to be Jim Schwartz that's hired as the head coach. The players love it.
Yeah.
And the players want him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's got a lot.
And everything positive that you just shared.
Yeah.
From the Cleveland Browns defense, Jim Schwartz.
Jim Schwartz.
Common denominator there. I'm not saying that he's out there making a play. I'm not saying it, but that is the strong point of the Browns is the defense.
Yeah, you flip to the other side of the ball, though.
So is he.
And the significant part of the offense that has cost them is turnovers between throwing interceptions and fumbling the ball and penalties.
Yeah.
All that stuff, you're just kicking yourself in the foot. And you're not performing well on offense.
Now, could you argue that they threw more interceptions or made more turnovers because they were always playing from behind and they were trying to force?
That had something to do with it, but most of it was just not
poor decision making. Not good.
You had 2 rookies that didn't have any NFL experience playing most of the majority of the season. I think Flacco played the first game.
Yeah. So the question comes to mind is why would you hire a defensive-minded person to be the head coach to ultimately try to fix the offensive problems?
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
You don't think Stefanski was the reason why the offense failed this year?
No, I think Stefanski was the reason the offense did.
So if you're going to replace him, you're still going to have a question mark on the offensive side of the ball.
There again, he's going to bring in I think Tommy Rees, the offensive coordinator that's there and that was there under Stefanski, I think he'll bring back. I really do. Unless he has someone else in mind. But you saw when Stefanski gave up play calling how much better the offense looked.
Yeah.
And it progressed to where they won their last 2 games, back-to-back games, and they haven't done that since like 2000. I mean, when they re-entered the league. So a lot of positive things going on, I think, too, on the offensive side of the ball. There's some positive things to take out of this. The tight end rookie.
Yeah.
You teamed him up with Njoku.
I mean, you talk about their youth a lot. They had the best rookie class, I think.
The running back
this year,
really good. Some of their young offensive linemen seem to be okay, doing the job without having to. I'll tell you right now, they're going to fix the offensive line. They're going to go and get probably the top tackle in the draft, if not the second best tackle. Okay? Depending on who they can get with that first pick. They got 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, yep. So
and so I think with the advantages of, I think Shedeur Sanders has earned more time to prove himself, another season, which allows them to bypass drafting another quarterback this coming draft and build around a quarterback, and maybe Shedeur will be able to perform a little better. But I think they're also going to hit free agency because none of them are under contract except for Luke Whipper. I think the rest of them. Oh, and DeJuan James, the left tackle, if he comes back. But he's a natural right tackle. So depending on what they could pick up in the draft this year will determine which side of the offensive line DeJuan James will end up playing, I think.
Yeah, so they're in a really good position to rebuild quickly with the 2 first.
Yes. Remember Zach Zinter, the best lineman from Michigan when they won the national title? He got his leg broke.
Yeah.
And was it the Ohio State game he broke his leg? Yeah, broke his leg in the Ohio State game. And he was their best lineman. Browns ended up drafting him. So, I mean, they have guys that are young, developing, waiting nurture.
Yeah, and you take those 6 one-score losses, and the Browns are a playoff team right there with the Bears, the Eagles, 11-6, the Bears 11-6, the Chargers. They're right there. So you put in a couple pieces and you flip the script on some of those real close games, and the Browns are right there. But I think that's the NFL as a whole, and that's what makes it so fun. Is every Sunday is any given Sunday.
The average point differential per game is like 3 points.
Yeah, well, yeah.
The point differential in most games are like 3 points.
Mm-hmm. So they're going in the offseason, they're sitting in a really good position. They did a really dominant rookie season by their guys. Myles Garrett coming off a huge record breaker. You have a new spot for head coach, so maybe it's given them a new identity to go get a coach that can not only work with the youth, but be able to take these 2 first-round picks to make the team even better. And then the question comes is, who are they going to take at the number 6? Dad, you like getting an offensive tackle, and in my mind, the number 1 guy is that Francis Mauga from Miami. Yeah, that big tackle. He's only given 1 sack this year. That would be a huge. That would be a great. It's a lot.
I'm just telling you, that's the consensus that I've been hearing is tackle, and then best available. So it could be they're talking Tate maybe if he's hung around that late. I doubt. It could be a wide receiver. It could be Caleb Downs. They need a deep safety. They have one. They don't have the second.
And wherever Downs goes is going to make an impact right away.
I think so too.
So it all depends on availability, Ryan. But I think the tackle is a necessity. If you look at what Harbaugh did in L.A. Chargers, first what Campbell did with Detroit first pick, Penei Sewell. You know what I mean? And what was the kid's name that Harbaugh took? Was a left tackle. So, I mean, and you look at those offensive lines, and those offenses are very effective because they took the time to build that line, and that's what the Browns are about to do.
Yeah, and I think they're set up for success next year. I think last year when we talked about the Browns, we were like, Dad was fired off every single conversation we had watching them last year. And then this year, because it started off really rocky, I think as the season ended in the high note, I think, for the Browns, finally, positively, with the rookies, with Myles Garrett breaking the record, of course, having a couple first-round draft picks this year coming in next year. You have a lot of pieces. You've got a Junkins running back who proved himself, I think, and didn't come out starting. He started, 5 games later in the year, 4 games later?
He hit the ground running, didn't he? Looked good.
Hit it running. You have Carson Schlesinger, the linebacker, who probably is going to be a big-time player for many, many years to play.
Oh, yeah.
You have Graham at the center of the piece of the line with Myles Garrett that I think the defense has proven themselves. And then you have some of the guys coming back on the offensive line.
I think Mason Graham's going to take a big jump next year. I don't think he showed all of his capabilities.
I mean, he is a top 10 defensive
First round pick last year.
top 10 defensive nose guard, I think.
This year?
Yeah, this year as a freshman.
And he ain't even scratched the surface, basically, on what he's capable of doing. He's been learning how to play the game in the NFL.
So I think the Browns are finally in that.
They got one common key position, Ryan, and that's quarterback.
And that's been the Browns' aurora for a very long time, is the quarterback situation.
And there's another thing he just reminded me of. Is another reason I'm saying Schwartz is the man, the head coach, is because the problem with the Browns over years has been inconsistency, because they're always replacing the coaching staffs. Every 2 to 3 years, they're the turnovers. You're always getting new offensive, new defense. Everything's new, and you got to start all over again.
Yeah.
So with a little bit of consistency, if you keep Jim Schwartz, the defense won't change, and hopefully the offense will change for the positive.
You got to give a lot of credit to Andrew Berry, probably, with the guys that he's picked.
He hit on the big time last year.
Last year he hit really well, and not just because he got Graham right off the bat, but with Schwartz coming out of third round, second round Schwartz, and then you got Junkins later, the fourth or fifth round.
You talk about Carson.
Yeah.
Schlesinger. He came in the second round.
So I guess to say is
I'm like, why would you take a linebacker in the second round?
With having 2 first round.
I know Junkins was second round, wasn't he? Mason Graham was first round.
Then Schwartz.
Then a second round, and then Junkins. Yeah.
He was a second rounder. Sorry, yeah. That's my fault.
No, but that's... How often do you pick and select a linebacker in the second round?
And get it right.
Yeah.
So...
he was he was the second best ranked linebacker in the draft.
So I don't think when the draft comes next year that we have to be worried that we're going to miss.
No, you
had a first 2 picks in the first round. I think the way it showed we've hit with these guys, and I think the guys that are in the first round are going to be impact players.
Well, you got the 6th pick, is it? In the second round?
6, and then whatever the Jaguars end up being.
Would it be the 38th pick? So you got an early pick in the second round even. You're probably going to land another first-round talent in the early second round. So I think they could come out with 3 first-round talent picks next year. 3?
Well, it's only end of April, so it's only a couple of months away, actually.
I'm getting excited.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
crazy to think.
We always say
it's in Pittsburgh, man. We got to go
next year.
That'd be nuts.
Better just go to it for the experience. Take our podcast over there and interview some people.
Or just go in period, Walk it out like we did at the Open.
Just tailgate.
Despite the season,
we got the Pittsburgh connections. We could probably find a place to go. They would know how to hang out, where to be.
Yeah, so
look into that.
Despite the 5-12 finish, the Browns have a heavily represented in this upcoming NFL award cycle. We talked a lot about Myles Garrett being Defensive Player of the Year, but he's also up for NFL MVP of the award.
I can't look at Defensive Player win that.
It's hard to see someone other than being a quarterback win that.
Yeah.
But then we talked a lot about Carson Schwarzenegger. He's probably going to be Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's heavily favored. We joked about this earlier, but Shedeur Sanders, because of his high completion percentage and his couple of clutch wins, has moved himself in the top 5 of the finalists of Offensive Rookie of the Year. He's not going to win it, but being a rookie quarterback and only getting half the year, it's unknown of what he would have done. It's notable. Yeah, definitely. It's notable. Then you have Grant Delpit. He's Walter Payton Man of the Year award. Mason Graham is an NFL rookie all season. Quinton Junkins is Offensive Rookie of the Year. And then Harold Finn Jr. is NFL Rookie of the Year. So even though you had a bad year and you're 5-12, you had a lot of guys, a lot of positives.
Amongst a lot of negatives.
But I think
Bubba Patron, the special teams coach, this was his worst performance in his entire career.
Yeah.
Their special teams were terrible.
Do we see a change there?
It cost... Yeah, he's gone.
Is he gone? Okay.
He went with that.
All right.
Needless to say...
Unless Jim Schwartz would rehire.
Myles Garrett, Cleveland Brownie, owns the record for the most sacks.
That's awesome.
That's a win for the Browns.
It's huge.
It's huge. So
it guarantees him a spot, I think, in the Football Hall of Fame.
I would say so, yeah. I can't see him not being in there.
Not after what he's accomplished in the last couple of years. He's so dominant that offenses have to game plan around him because he's a gamer.
Yeah.
He was the anchor of their team.
Your buddy, Tom Brady said he's a problem.
He is a problem. And this year, was it about this time last year, we were talking about what could we get for him, trading him. You know, there was a whole dispute about, can you get 3 first rounders?
How's on now?
And now,
What if you traded him now?
But
what a haul.
Do you want to get rid of him because he just won the sack record?
No.
And it's made offenses brown rounds.
Somebody cannot offer what he's.
I think he retires a Brown.
So there's no one that can offer like 3 first. He would require, in my opinion, 3 first rounders in the first year. Then you ain't getting that from no single team. But yeah, I'm with you. I think he retires a Brown. I think he owns Cleveland. I think he's happy. He's the face of Cleveland.
Yeah.
He's going to be the face of the new stadium if it ever gets built. Yeah.
I'll take positives. It's a lot of good stuff, man. A lot of good football. I'm really glad we can get back in the studio and talk.
Yeah. We got football going on right now. Halftime, the Bills are up 10-7.
Bills are up 10-7.
They got 49 Eagles. 49 Eagles this afternoon at 4:30. Finishing with the Patriots and the Chargers at 8:15, and then we have Monday night wild card football, Pittsburgh and Texas.
How about the Patriots, man?
They hit hard, yeah.
Mike Vrabel.
And Vrabel and Drake May.
Vrabel from what? Northeast Ohio.
Yeah, sir.
And I mean, it didn't take him long to accept that job out there in Boston, did it? And look what he's done.
It's kind of a natural fit for her.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great. And I think that bringing back some of the coaches, that's why I'm worried about Ohio State and losing Matt Patricia.
Nothing's came out official on it yet, so it's.
I think he'd go back. He's to go back there with Vrabel, be defensive coordinator.
Time will tell.
Oof. He's getting the gang back together out there, and they hit on Drake May. He looks phenomenal.
Yeah, they did.
Not his rookie year, he struggled, but I think every rookie quarterback seems to have that. It's the growing pains. It's the speed of the game.
Yeah, but didn't he progress though?
Yeah,
as the year went on, he looked better and better.
But they also went through a quarterback or coaching change there for a while too. After Belichick left, they kind of had some inconsistencies there. And when you have inconsistencies of head coaches coming in and leaving and bringing their system, it changes your team.
See, does it seem like to you that he has that Brady
swagger? A little bit.
Personality, like,
a little bit.
I'm going to be quiet. I'm just going to show you what I can do on the field. But once I show you, I'm going to let you know.
Like a fart. Quiet. Yeah, deadly. Once you smell it, you might not hear it, but when I smell it, you're going to know they're there. So, hey, what a great, we can't end on the fart one. We got to edit that out or something. But anything else you wanted to add, or
just that football in general, the playoffs in NFL has been great games. I mean, last night's game went to the wire. The Rams-Panthers game went to the wire. And you're looking at the Bears and the Panthers, 2 teams for the last 5-10 years that were irrelevant, and them being in the playoffs and competing in the first round.
Yeah,
it's just exciting to see the talent of college football transforming into the NFL.
Yep,
and making the teams better. I think the level of play has gotten better.
I agree too.
It's great to see right now.
Football's on the rise, in my opinion. It's the people, I think, are starting to find out that it's the best sport alive.
That's for sure, without a doubt. I know that's our thought process here.
Right? It's it, man. That's the best.
It's a big part, I think. And it exemplifies everything about life. Toughness in the trenches, overcoming adversity, finding the right people to surround yourself with. All those things transform to real life things too. And I think that's what makes it, that much more enjoyable. So, well, it's been real. Hey, we appreciate you logging in. Make sure you hit that like and share. And we'll see you next time.
People identify who did it.
So why don't you tell us a little bit more, Ross?
Yeah.
And usually, I got my Uncle Dan coming in at 11:30 with his big old truck. Dad'll talk a little bit more about why I'm done.
Oh, wait, almost 9 of those.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yep.
Yeah.
3, look what I did. 3, 2, 1. Guys, welcome back to the